What was your reaction to seeing a furry for the first time? Oh, that's a great question. Holy shit, chat, you have such great questions. Okay, what was my reaction to seeing a furry for the first time? Okay, so real talk, there's been about 3 times in my life that I've run into an IRL furry before I became before I entered the fandom. Okay, so for me, when I was 10 years old, that's when I found the furry fandom. Okay, and immediately I was just like, okay, furry, I really like the not safe for work stuff, but like the community is cringe as fuck. I don't need this in my life. I don't need to be bullied about this. I don't need to deal with this. Fuck the furry fandom. I like the art. Fuck the furry fandom. They are cringy. I don't need to get bullied for this. I don't need to be associated with this, but I like the stuff. Okay? So like for the longest period of time, like 16 years, I kept myself distant from the fandom, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to deal with this. When I moved to a new school, when I was in like high school, I was on a bus, and that bus had 2 furries on it. Okay? And man, looking back, my life could have been so much different if I kind of like jumped in with them at that time, and probably for the better. But like the first one, her name was Judy, and she was fucking nuts. And one of these days I might meet her at a con because she's Canadian, but man, she is fucking nuts. Okay, this is a girl that one of these days she came on the bus, and she was dressed in a kimono and like Japanese like wear, and she pretended for a week to be her sister from Japan that had like transferred over, and she pretended not to speak English and all this stuff because she was totally her sister from Japan. That was just her in thing. She would tell us all the time about the owls that she kept in her attic and how she like ran around with the wolves outside of stuff. And then every once in a while I would look over her shoulder, and she's writing very not safe for work Inuyasha fan fiction about her and him and oh whoa and other furry stuff. Okay, and I'm like, oh cool, I'm justified. Furry is cringy. I don't want to be associated with this. Fuck this shit. Right? But then,
oh my god.
But then there was this boy, okay? And he wasn't cringy. He was actually a really good friend of mine, and we talked about stuff, and he never outwardly expressed that he was a furry, right? And he kind of had a bad living situation, right? But like, I was sitting next to him on the bus, stuff like that, and like, we talked about a comic that is called, I can't say the name because it's not safe for work comic, but like it was a very, very old comic. Like, it's a comic you'll never find nowadays in the furry fandom, but like, we talked about it, and it was the first time that I had outwardly expressed not being straight. And we kind of had like a little bit of a moment of that, and like, the sad thing is, about a week after that, I never saw him again. He moved to a different school, never saw him again. But like it was the first time that I kind of felt like a tingle of like oh, we could have a kind of like a relationship kind of stuff. But like, I was also very, very straight at the time, and like, it's high school and you don't want to show weakness and all that kind of stuff, right? But like like, we sat together almost every day on the bus, and he was definitely, after talking about those comics, we both kind of like hinted at that we were furries, but none of us were openly expressive of it. Okay, and I really, really feel that my life would have been completely different if we had to spend more time together and became like more open to actually talk about it. Because if either one of us had the more courage to be like to call it out, I probably would have gone into this whole world that I'm in right now maybe about 10 years earlier, straight up. Okay, and then there was the raccoon. When what's it called? At this point, it was like fast forward 10 years, literally fast forward 10 years, and like, I met this raccoon, and man, I what do you call it? This raccoon entered my life, and he was a friend of my friend, and my friend pulled me aside because I was super straight, never talked about gays or anything like that, and he was just like, hey, so we're going to go to a board game night tonight, and there's going to be this guy there, and he's a little weird. He's a furry, okay? And this guy, he's very, very gay, but he's super okay. Like, he's super chill and he's awesome, stuff like that. Don't worry about it. But he might try to bite you. Okay? He might try to nibble on you. Like, it's just kind of like his thing. So, like, other than that, he's like perfectly chill and like he's a really cool guy. Just give him a chance. And internally, I'm like, oh no. I've been a furry internally for 16 years and I don't want to be like exposed. And for some reason, knowing that this guy's a furry, he'll have a magical ability to instantly tell that I'm a furry. So I'm fucked. So I didn't want to meet this guy. But I can't tell them why I don't want to meet this guy, so I have to go anyway because everybody else wants to go to the board game night. So I was fucked. So I go to the board game night, and he was really really like how should I put it? Happy. He was really open and happy and a good person, and it fucked with me because like he was so happy and free. And my life at that time was so restrictive and it was so chained and it was made to be perfect. My life at that time was made to be the perfect, straight, white male life that everybody around me expected me to have. I was very smart, so I had to have a very good career. I was very, everything that I had in my life was constructed in perfection, okay, and is very tightly boxed. And he was very happy and he was very free, and it cracked my world a little bit. And then he bit me and I punched him, and then we became best friends, straight up. Yeah, like he bit me, I punched him, we became best friends, and slowly over time, him being a friend of mine and him showing me his side of the world cracked my box more and more until I had to admit to him that I was a furry, and he didn't accept it because my box was so strong that it didn't show any signs of being furry. But it was that cracking that led me to who I am today.